welcome back to Two Cheers, One Chat. We are your hosts, Derry Cox.
Rudolph Thurman.
And thank you so much for joining us again for yet another episode. This one, it's a bit sensitive, and it is a topic that we thought was important to talk about. And with no offense to anyone, we're just here to highlight a few things, share our opinions, and make some suggestions if we can. That would be helpful to our community. This topic is called the war amongst us. And we're going to go into who is the us that we're identifying with? Like, who are we really talking about? And we'll go from there. So before we start that, how have you been?
I've been good.
Good. It's good to be back in the chairs again.
Surely is.
Chatting in the chairs, as we're always saying.
This is what we do.
Yeah, it's really good to be back here. It's always an honor and, a privilege to be doing this podcast that we have, we kind of like started off wanting to bring attention to topics that are important to us. And here we go again.
Yeah.
With another one. So the war amongst us, and who are we identifying as the us? I will start to say the us is the people that look like me.
Yeah.
Me and and you.
Yes.
And it's not specifically just limited to the United States, but around the world. And there's some things we want to talk about when it comes to our community, and the things that we do, and the things that I think that we need to do, and the things that I think that we need to identify that is a problem, it's an issue that we need to work on, and just flow with it, right?
Yeah.
It can be a little touchy at times, but bear with us.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that a lot of people talk about.
No.
It's not something that people would feel comfortable talking about. But we're deciding that we're going to tackle it.
Yes, we are.
Because it's important. It's important, and we like to talk, tackle those difficult conversations that no one is like really willing to talk about. We can talk about a host of things, but not everyone is talking about this, and how we as a community, as Black people, no matter where we're coming from, where we were born, or anything like that, really try to embrace and try to talk about. So we're starting the conversation, and we're going to try to dig as deep as we can to see if we can also, in the meantime, we have our own opinions on things, but we also want to see if during the conversation we can, because sometimes, you have conversation and it sparks different conversations.
It does.
And it's things that you're not really thinking about, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, I never thought about that. So here we go. The us, like I said, is Black people.
Yes.
What are we doing? How living with each other affects us? Like, what do we need to change as a people to be more? I think the whole topic is being unified.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing the things we need to change. The healing that needs to be done within our community, and tackling other things that may come up as a community.
Yeah.
I know that sometimes not all of us are on the same page,
right?
But I think we have to start somewhere on getting on the same page.
I agree.
Because things affect us pretty much the same way. We might think that you're living in a glass house, that something may not affect you that's happening to someone who's in the hood somewhere, or doesn't have the same financial status as you. But you might step out of the United States and no one knows who you are, and all they see is the color of your skin.
Yeah.
And then that has an effect on you, how people treat you, how people look at you. So what do you want to add to that, like to start get this conversation rolling?
There was a major word that you use, unified, right? So in order for us to be unified, I feel like we have to start at communication. We can't be unified if we're not on the same page, if we're not having certain conversations, if we're not coming to the table, right? We have to get to a place where we can express ourselves, understand each other, and don't let our words turn into a fight, right? We want to be unified. We have to understand, what does that mean? What our goals are, you know, as a race, as a culture, and understand what is it that we want. If there's things that we disagree about, let's talk about it, and let's see what are the steps that we can take to make it better.
Yeah, let's agree to disagree.
Right, right. Because it's not everything is gonna line up, right? Not everything is gonna line up, but that's why it is that medium, you know, meeting the person in the middle. Sometimes you're gonna have to do stuff like that, and I think that's where sacrifice comes in. Sacrifice comes into a place when you understand the cause, right? So when you understand the cause, when you understand the purpose of what we are trying to get to as a race, as a culture, then we can honestly say that we're going somewhere. You know?
Yeah, that's really, I guess that's it. That's really important, what you said, everything that you said there. Not to take away from anyone and any other race, this is strictly about us trying to figure out ways of getting together about the unity that we so much need, and identifying within ourselves who we really are. You know, because every other race, they look at themselves as better than us, and we're like, but you're not better than us. Nobody's better than anybody, and that's the way I look at things. I think that everybody have to come to agreement that we all need to respect each other and respect the skin. Respect starts at home. Right? You have to respect yourself, the way you carry yourself, the way, you know, you interact with people, you know, and then you can start to build from there, I think. That's important too, by how you carry yourself and how you respect who you are, and then you show people that, listen, you may feel a certain way about me, but that's not who I am, and I really don't have a proof a point to you. You're just going to have to accept that I am who I am, pretty much, right? And I know that's a lot of people in our community have to deal with identifying themselves, like internal issues that they may have, right? And we know that from history how it was light skin versus darker skin, right? And then we have to deal with the feelings of not being good enough. Because other people are in areas like, they're nothing, they're good for nothing, they're lazy, that's all they do, you know. And we have to know who we are, and so we have to start rising above. And you know, we see it that like people are getting better at what they're doing. Everybody's trying to create their own business and trying to do other things. But there's still a disunity in our community, right? So we have to... Can you say
that again? I like that. Can you say that again?
There is a disunity in our community.
I love that.
Okay.
All right.
So we have to first look within, and then we work towards getting to where we need to be with the respect. Respect is earned. Right? And because of history, and we see how a lot of times how it has happened, the segregation, right, from the start, with the mindset, how people try to segregate us. Like, oh, you have money, you have a different status, they're poor, you don't need to worry about them. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, leave the community alone, and all these other things that come into play. It's like people from the West Indian, like, oh, they're different from the African American, the blacks in America, different from the European blacks, and it try to like, and the Africans in Africa, and they try to like separate us. And we have to realize that that's the strategy that they have to weaken who we are. you know.
Yeah.
So that's part of like the focus of dealing with our internal issue, like I mentioned,
Yeah.
the light skin versus the dark skin.
That's
and,
major.
yeah, feeling like the odds are stacked against us and you can't move from where you are. And
Right.
there's so many examples now that show that that's wrong.
Oh,
It proves
yeah.
that that's wrong. So I think we start
Of
there.
course. Of course.
What do you say?
Well, we have a job to do. We have a job to do. And when I say us, you, me, us black people, we have a job to do. We have to break stigmas.
Yeah.
There are too many stigmas attached to us, right? We got to start having a problem with these stigmas. Otherwise, they're going to just stay, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are going to continue to say things about us, about our race, until we start making major changes, right? And I know there's going to be a set of people that's going to be like, I don't care what anybody has to say, you don't know me or anything like that. But goes back to the word unification. We're going to have to start caring, right? Because if we don't, then we're never going to be able to get on the same page. So when you look at things like light skin versus dark skin, while I do know that does exist, you know that exists, that really shouldn't be a problem, with us, because when you really step out there into the real world, they know the difference.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely know the difference. They know that I'm black. They know that you're black. It's just a different shade. That's all it is. And you yourself supposed to just notice and just know that don't let the ways of the world or the ways of whoever that controls certain things, don't let that be the thing that divides us. Show that no matter what shade of black you are, I could still stand with this person. But when one stands over here, one stands over there, one stands in the corner, it's like, it's very easy for people to look at us. It's very easy for people to look at us and just say, hey, look how divided they are. Yeah. So when we as a race are dividing ourselves based off of different things, based off of where I'm from. Okay, I'm West Indian, or I'm American, I'm African American, and no, I'm from this country or I'm from that country. There's so much division in us where it's like we don't even sometimes want to even associate with our own kind, right? And not understanding that we're all black,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's still all black, and everybody is watching us. We are a very influential culture, and that is why that talk of division exists amongst us, because people are watching how we're moving. They're watching to see how we put each other down sometimes, how we separate ourselves, from each other. We have to, like I said before, sit at the table and say, enough is enough. Let's come together so now people can have a different vision of us, not just for people, but for us. Don't we care about us?
Yeah,
we
it
have
really
to.
has to start somewhere.
It has to.
And that will be a good place for it to start. I can just see, you were talking about West Indian and being from Guyana, and that's South America, but they get batched into that whole thing,
right.
Of being West Indian. I didn't grow up seeing a lot of disunity within the community. The people that I grew up with, we partied together as neighbors. We would just, you going over there? Yeah, we all going, and there was never a brother fighting a brother. a neighbor fighting, or you do have silly arguments, and they're like, oh, you rest yourself and go in your house or whatever the case is.
Right.
But there wasn't so much that I've noticed here in the United States that I've seen that's really been disturbing. So I know you can more speak to that, like those things that happen between the community with all, and then something we're going to touch on about jealousy and envy and envying of each other and stuff like that. But I really did not grow up seeing that kind of stuff in my community as Black people.
Right.
So I don't know how to explain the stuff that is happening here. I can only see, I can only talk about what I could try to understand about what I see that's happening in the community, and what I recognize, it's a lot of, maybe you think you're better than me kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And for what reason, I don't know. Because I honestly feel that if you are a person individually that knows that you came on the earth with a purpose, you are here for a specific purpose. God created each and every one of us for His will, right? And so we each have an assignment. Some of us find it later in life, some of us find it early. But we all have a reason why we are here. And so once you know that, then you wouldn't be envious and jealous of anybody else. You know, people tend to watch and be upset and be jealous and all that stuff when they're not taken up with doing what they're actually called to do. Because if you're busy serving your own purpose that you came here for, then you wouldn't be bothered about what anybody else is doing. You know, you wouldn't be sitting there hating on anybody.
No, not at all.
You know, and I think that's something that each individual have to recognize on their own as well. And I think that's why we decided that we need to talk about it.
That's right.
Because if we're not talking about it, nobody's going to be talking about it, and it's going to be repeating a cycle and a cycle for generations and generations to come. We have to be able to hold each other accountable. We have to be able to say to each other, you need some healing. You know, you need to heal because maybe there's something that's bothering you. And that's brings to another point where you know, they would talk about, we did do a topic of mental health.
Yeah,
right?
we did.
We would talk about men and mental health. This one specifically, I'm going to just say Black men and mental health, because way too often I see fathers killing mothers and leaving babies without mothers and fathers. Like it takes a lot for someone to kill someone. And so to get to that point means that there's something wrong.
Yeah, there was like some buildup.
Yeah, and you need to be able to recognize within yourself, you know, sometimes it's hard to face the fact. Sometimes you don't want to be looked at as not well. You know, you think that's demeaning to your character, or you look weak or something like that. But you look weaker if you're hurting someone else.
Right.
So my advice and suggestion to all my beautiful Black kings: take care of yourselves mentally, you know, and physically, you know, get that sexy body on and stuff. But yeah, so it's important that you take care of your mind, body, and soul. It's so, so important. And you are so, so, so needed. And if you find that you need help, reach out. There's many resources.
A lot of outlets.
You're still going to be fine. Okay, you're still gonna be fine. That's my way of encouraging. You're still gonna be your fine self. Just know that you need some extra help, and you can go get it. And that goes for women as well. You know, because some of us are crazy. You know, some of us need some help, and I don't mean to use that word, but sometimes we go off a little where we don't need to. And we can recognize. True. We should be able to recognize, or I hope that you're able to recognize that you need some help and you get it. You know?
No, I strongly agree with you on what you're saying, like with the mental health. You know,
not with the fine Black kings, no.
I like that. But you know, with men, mental health, you know, we've had conversations, you know, about that, like where I feel like a lot of this starts back from the basics, This is from the root. A lot of things that were told as a boy is being groomed into a man. You know, so how certain emotions should not be expressed. So when you think about consumption, and then things that are built up as you grow as an adult, and then you never know when it's gonna burst. All the things that you are not able to contain. A lot of things that were never addressed, because times when you wanted to release, you was told not to release. So now you release, and now you get released on someone that has had nothing to do with it. They're not the person that inflicted the stuff onto you. And now you turn into this person that becomes unrecognizable. And but like you said, there are places where you can get the help. We have to search for the right outlets and let people know, no matter what it is, how bad it hurts. Guess what? There's somebody always out there that's just like you. And when you sit down amongst those people that's able to express that, you're going to see that you're not alone. And you're going to be like, wow, there's others just like me. There's others that were held back just like me. There's others that need help also. So I just feel like we got to make like the right steps to fix the mental health as a whole. But for speaking on men's mental health, we gotta let them know that it's okay. You're not weak if you express yourself.
Yeah, you don't have to always, you can choose whether you talk about it in a group, or if you want to be more discreet and you want to have your privacy. There's 1,000,001 therapists that you can talk to. Don't hesitate. It's private. It's confidential. Go and release yourself there. Go talk about it, whatever it is that you're going through. That's why, regardless of what insurance you have, and someone who's savvy on insurances, there are most insurances will give you access to mental health help. You can go talk to a therapist and they will take care of all that stuff for you and pay for it if you don't want to talk. Because sometimes people are like, I don't want my boy knowing that I'm dealing with certain stuff. You don't have to tell your boy nothing, because your boy might have a running mouth. And then he may laugh about it on the other side. So there's like personal people that, therapists and stuff like that you can go talk to. And most importantly, I'm always going to tell you can talk to God about it.
But you know what? Not to cut you, but sometimes your boy that you're going and you telling that to, either they have the same problem as you or they're worse. So sometimes people, they hiding stuff amongst each other, amongst the friendship and whatever, and now you're saying something, you're sharing it with your friend, thinking that you're gonna be embarrassed, and then they're looking at it like, wow, me too.
But not everybody is open like that.
Yeah, you're right.
So we have options. It's
Yeah,
kind of like
definitely.
you do have options, because not everybody's gonna want to feel that they're on the same thing like you. We're going through this. No, we don't want that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there are resources, and there's just to let you know, on the mental health thing, we're always open to reminding people, if you need help, go find it. It's out there, 1,000,001 resources, because I think people are realizing more and more that there are a lot of hidden things within people that people refuse to share, or don't want to share, or don't want to open up to. So everybody's becoming a little bit more aware of that, and the resources are growing and growing every day for that. So also, what we're going to touch on again is support. Another point is supporting each other as a race, whether it be in business, in all capacity, whenever and however we can. That tend to be a big problem sometimes.
Big problem in our community.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So
I don't know why.
I feel like with anything that we are pushing towards as a community, we definitely have to have more support amongst each other. It doesn't matter if you don't have anything going on active at that moment. Us being in the same community, and if we have love for each other, and you see your brother or your sister, they're doing something, they're building something, they have it already and they're trying to maintain it, let us feel amongst each other that we have somebody by our side, right? Instead of, these side comments and, sometimes people could say things in the midst of you having something good and it could just like really mess with your spirit. Like you're building something that's like, sounds nice, must be nice. And it's like, it doesn't sound really sincere.
Yeah. There's kind of some jealousy, there's kind of some envy. And I think with all, as a community, all that Black people have endured, you think, because of all they've endured, I'm going to repeat that, that there will be much more unity to help pull and lift each other up.
Yeah.
But there's so much of that is lacking, and that's why, again, we decided to do this episode to talk about the war. It's really a war amongst us. And so, it's really time for us to get on that page of that unity, and this side-eyeing thing just needs to stop. And, support not just by or liking or doing all that kind of stuff. It's more than that.
Yeah.
It's about saying...
Majorly.
And I know sometimes people don't want to attach their name to something until maybe you're big. It's really crazy how celebrities that are like making millions of dollars, right? And you're someone that that's doing their small business or whatever they're doing, you're reluctant to share their stuff. But with the celebrity, you're all over there, you're supporting, you're shouting for them, and you're doing all this stuff. People that, some of them don't really care about you at all. And you're still doing that. It's just that it's time for us to start reflecting, and I love to say that. Look in the mirror.
Yeah.
We need to look directly into the mirror. We need to start healing from within. We need to start recognizing that we have purpose as a community. We're not nobody's footstool. We're not no carpet that you can get walked on over and over. And the reason why people do that is because they see the disunity amongst us. And I know a lot of people are not going to like what I'm saying, but I come with purpose and I have to say what I'm here to say, and it is what it is, and that's just what it is, so yeah, help me here. Well, I just feel like you see how you highlighted how people are just so quick to show what the celebrity is doing, right? So, look at what this person is doing and that person is doing, and it's like, okay, you don't know them. They already established, and you're not helping your brother and your sister, your friend that has something, going on. Show what they're doing, so we can truly grow. Like, those people already made it, but like let's deal with what's going on like over here, because that celebrity that you keep being like on their coattail and like, yo, look what they got, they're not gonna reach back out to you. So being all on them is not gonna do anything, right? Because I think sometimes, to be honest, Terry, I think sometimes people, they'll never get it unless it's actually them. When you start something for yourself and you see that you're not getting the support, you're not getting the love or anything, then you're going to start feeling away. But then, in the midst of you feeling away, you should pause for a moment and remember
what it was like when other people around you were doing stuff and you didn't care, you didn't support them, you overlooked them to go praise somebody
Yeah.
that's in another status, that's in another financial bracket that you're not, right? And that's the problem right there, you know, chasing the people with the higher status instead of taking care of home base.
That's really important what you said. We have to deal with home.
Yeah.
Our community first.
Yeah.
And that's really important. We really have to fight to save ourselves, to be our brothers and sisters keepers. You know, it's a lot, but I think that we have it in us if we are willing. We have always been resilient. We have never really given up.
Yeah.
We fought to make a lot of changes in our community and in our lives and stuff like that. But there's still stuff that are missing, and we can turn our eyes and attention to how someone is so easy to shoot someone in the street, and they look just like you. What are you doing? Like, you know, it's not. That's it's really bad.
Oh, that's...
You know, how much hate do you have to have for someone? You know, and some people never get over the fact that someone may have called them a wrong name in 1967 or, you know, and I'm talking about the same race. Or I'm going all the way back there, but in 2001, he said some stuff to me. Oh, now he made it. I'm going to find that and go cap him or all these crazy talks. You're just destroying yourselves. You know, we should not be allowed to do that. We should not be doing that. And I know it's going to take a lot of healing as a community to get there.
Yeah, I'm actually, you know, what you're saying right now is actually a very relevant topic. You know, right now that a lot of us, it's actually an emergency at this point. We must stop overlooking this. Have other people outside of our race done things to us? Yeah. But what do we do, or how do we handle it when we're doing things to us?
Yeah.
We can't ignore that.
Yeah, we can never ignore that. And I think that's the reason why other people in the other races do things for us. Like I said, they see the disunity amongst us, and it's a good thing for them. You know, the divide and conquer. And that's pretty much been their motto forever.
Of course.
And I'm not sure when are we going to actually realize. I mean, we can. It's like lip service all the time. Like, yeah, we see that. We see what. Do you actually see it?
Yeah.
Because if you see it, then you're able to act better. You're able to do different. You don't sit and be jealous of your brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? You have, like I said, if you know what your true purpose is, then you're busy handling that. You don't have time to hate. You don't have time to be jealous and envious of anyone. You're focused on your goals, and you just keep pushing forward. We need to be happy about happy for each other. Know that we have come a long way. We fought a lot of fights.
We did.
We are very forgiving. We need to forgive ourselves. And we start there as well. Forgive ourselves.
That's powerful.
That's a part of the healing process. Forgiving us.
Ourselves. Yeah. And I feel like we can't move forward when we're not forgiving ourselves. There's a lot of things we blame ourselves, you know, for. And once we get past that and understand that, like, okay, I may have messed up here in whatever the situation is, but I know I could be redeemed, right? I know that there could be, you know, another chance. And once you change your mindset, then you can move forward. But if you're staying in the past, if you have the same mindset, if we just staying stagnant, And that's the thing that's just gonna leave us in just one position. And you also said something about us talking about it, like a lot, right? And I noticed that, like, within our community, something goes on, we get excited, right? Because it's in the now moment. We're talking about it for that moment. We're talking about it for that week. Until it dies down, it's no longer popular.
I do see a lot of, not to cut you,
Yeah.
when I'm scrolling and I see a lot of things that happen, and I see there's few people in the comments will be saying, we need to do better with ourselves. We need to better by ourselves.
Yeah.
Nobody's having this conversation. Nobody's having this conversation. Those comments get ignored.
Yeah, the most.
All the time.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention, but somebody's watching.
Yeah.
And in the Black community, us as Black people, whether we're from Africa, we're from Asia, we're from the West Indies, wherever we're from, we need to be intentional. We need to be consistent. And if we see a leader in us, if we, as a people, I see you as a leader and I see you going someplace,
Right.
we need to continue to be supportive. We need to try our best to help you to get to your full potential. And I'm pretty sure you'll help us. Sometimes some of us get up there and forget about everything. But I do understand that. I understand how you can get to a level in your life, in whatever it is that you're doing, and feel like, I'm not going to look back because of how people react. Some people will be like, oh, you're big now. You got this, so you don't have time. It's not like they don't have time.
Yeah.
You tend to have a different mindset,
Yeah.
right? But we all can get there. Look at all the other races.
Yeah.
How they hold each other's by hand. They're not. They believe in the crabs in the barrel. We're all doing this.
Yeah.
No matter how they will have their little disagreements or whatever, they're not trying to stop their brother or their sister from getting where they need to go.
Nah.
We're all gonna do it.
Not at all. And
Look at it within the community and all the stores that you see in all the corners. And I love my Arabs and my guys. I love them, And so you can see them. They're united.
They are. It's so
And they're
it's so
coming
visible.
into our community,
And
they're selling their stuff in our community.
Yeah. They are. When we should be displaying more ownership, right? But shout out to the people in our culture who are great business people, who do own things, who do have a lot of great things, going on, that do have a circle that is tight and that they could trust, and they're building and they're elevating with those people that are around them. But for the ones that's in our culture that we're not experiencing that, we got to ask each other, why are we not experiencing it? What is it that we're doing wrong, right? What is it that we keep entertaining that we should not be entertaining in terms of like our thought process and the way that we're seeing things? There's a lot of things that we don't got to put to the side. We got to throw it away.
Yeah, we need to heal. Forgive.
Yeah,
So it starts with the healing,
yeah.
forgiving ourselves, and we need to find that spirit of collective unity.
Yeah.
And it's important that we do that because the unity is important to our success as a community. It is very, very important. It's very, very vital.
Yeah.
We can't be going on generations and generations with the same cycle repeating itself. It got to stop somewhere and start over.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think what else we got to cover here?
Yeah.
I made some notes here about setting our house in order for future operations or future generations. Actually.
Generations, yeah.
We can't continue, like I just said, we can't continue to repeat that cycle of not finding unity, finding a way to coexist, finding a way to love on each other, finding a way to support each other. And like I said, when we see the leaders in each other, we can say, I see you doing this. Do you think that may something that you may want to do, or encourage each other to keep reaching higher? to achieving our goals, to serving out our purpose.
Yeah.
And we need to be intentional, as I said, and consistent in our support. You know, I know we get tired and we're dealing with a lot of things going on at one time. Don't get distracted.
Right.
Refocus.
That's true. Yeah. And you see how you mentioned cycles and stuff in our homes. You know, that goes back, like that ties into, you know, helping the generation and the next generation and the next generation, regardless of how a cycle was with you, and you fell victim of that cycle. If you are in the now and you see that is a cycle that had continued, and it was a cycle of something that didn't work and it's not working, the power is in your hands to change that and say, look, listen, I don't care what I was taught, what I was shown. I don't care what's popular. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I want to be that one to make a difference, right? Make that difference. Don't let nobody stop you.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, you got kids, help your kids. Help your kids. That's also a part of your responsibility.
Yeah.
Help your kids. Show them the way. Show them the way. Teach them, you know, how not to fall into the same traps, fall into the same places that you may have fell into, or the people that came before you may have fell into, right? But you're doing an injustice to your own children if you don't teach them that. So now they got to suffer with the bad knowledge that was passed on to you, or the things that you were seeing. Like, no, if you know better, show them the better.
Show them the better. That's right. We have to start somewhere.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm glad we did have this discussion.
Me too.
Is there anything else you want to touch on with this one?
No, I feel like we pretty much said what we needed to say, like with it. But, you know, just to summarize it, just as a whole, like, let's come to the table, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, let's have real conversations, and let's be open. Let's learn to trust each other.
Yeah.
Right? Let's learn to trust each other, because we're very guarded. I think we're guarded because we're worried about judgment. Right? Oh, this person's gonna say this and that about me. If they know this, I don't want nobody to know my business. But look, listen, there's no perfect person out here. Let's come to the table and let's share our stories, and just let our stories that may have held us back or make us fall, let's put it together and let's rise together.
Yeah. Yeah, unity is key to our success, again. And also, look yourselves in the mirror and see what you can do better for yourself, like how you change. Because with you changing your mindset, the way you think, if things have been holding you down in life and you're thinking that you're not good for anything and they're always calling us names and they always think that we're the worst, you start looking at yourself like, no, I'm not. I'm one of God's greatest creation, and I'm here with a purpose, and I'm going forward with it. And I think it starts there. So that's all a part of the healing and getting ready to. And then there's so many other things we can do, by reaching out to each other, supporting each other, starting that dialogue, starting that conversation. It is really important, and it starts as well with our communication. So that brings us to the end of this episode of The War Amongst Us.
Yes.
If after this we feel like we need to talk about it again, we sure will be talking about it again.
That's right.
So, again, thank you for watching Two Chairs, One Chat. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube at Two Chairs, One Chat. We are also on Instagram as Two Chairs, One Chat. I am Derry Cox. My handle is I am Derry Cox on IG. And
I'm Rudolph Thurman. You can find me on IG at Poetry is Visual. That's Poetry IZ Visual.
thank you for watching.